Like, I mean, the sound of this film is just awesome. I love everything about
Yeah,
it.
it's good.
How did you get involved? At what point did you come in?
Well, I was asked to do it. It wasn't my idea. The producer, Roger Frappier, asked me, and I knew about the project. I knew it was happening. I'd seen the original film. But then I read the script, and it was so solid that it was a pretty fast decision to get involved. It's a really, really, really solid script, and it's very rare to get something like that.
Well, and I liked hearing you talk about the fact that the script was so solid. What was it about the script that you think is so
It's
perfect?
just it's a really, really strong comic premise, and that's really rare. I think even particularly now, it's unique kind of comedy. It's sort of it's like an Ealing's comedy. It's like an older style of comedy, a social comedy about a town, really.
Right.
The main character is really the town and the people of the film seducing this doctor from outside, from the big city. So, when you have something that strong at the heart of the movie, that sort of concept, it's a real luxury because you can always fall back on that. You know it'll work. Most comedies nowadays are personality based and different kind of comedy, cruder generally. So this was sort of a really fun challenge right from the top because I love that kind of comedy, and I love the idea of doing something like that.
And for you, I mean, the location being so important, how easy was it to find that location? And I understand you loved it.
Well, I mean, Newfoundland was the idea. Roger came with the idea of Newfoundland, and certainly it's pretty odd. I mean, it's very hard to think of anywhere else. At least once it's in your head, I don't know. I mean, it could be, I don't know, in Nunavut or something. I don't know where it could be, but it's certainly hard not to think of Newfoundland when you get in your head because of the characters and the people and the voice. But finding the actual town was not easy. For one thing, everywhere was so damn beautiful. It was hard to pinpoint where we were going to shoot, and it was hard actually to find a single town that had all the requirements that we needed: a post office, a bar, a harbor. So we had to make a bit of a composite of a couple of different towns, but there was a wealth of opportunities. That's for sure.
So what did you think once you started filming in this town? I mean, what was the vibe like being so different from everyone else?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, it was amazing. It almost sounds like bullshit when I say it, but the people were so generous and open that not only was it easy for us to shoot there, but it was almost like it was easy in a way to absorb that voice. I felt, and they were so generous to the actors. Most of my cast was from Newfoundland, so that helped, of course. But the few who weren't were so quickly adopted, and I wasn't sure that would be the case. I wasn't sure they would think that, they would own it as their own film, which I wanted them to, because I wanted that voice, and I really wanted to set it firmly in Newfoundland and make it. And for them to believe it, and they did. So, yeah, and they were so welcoming. They welcomed us into their homes and into their boats and onto their fishing stages. And
so the casting as well is very interesting to me. I mean, Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah.
First of all, how did you come to the realization that Taylor was the one you wanted?
I always liked Taylor, and I guess the first. I loved him, and he was excellent in Friday Night Lights. And then I saw him in Bang Bang Club, this Canadian film, and I thought, wow, it's a real performance. Like, he's an actor, I thought. He's not just some... You might think from Friday Night Lights, that's just him. So I always remember thinking, this is a guy who I should try and work with. And then I thought of him this part, which isn't... And a lot of people thought at first, are you sure that he's not... He's an action star, But... I felt that he had the comedy and the sort of intelligence to do it, and he did. I mean, he's so charming in the film, and so natural, and he's an intelligent actor, so it's very different from the action films he's doing. And it's not an easy job. I often think it's sort of the hardest job in the film because he's sort of the straight man, but he can't seem stupid or we won't like him. He's a hard-living city guy, but at the same time you don't want him to be a prick,
Right.
or to be condescending to this town, because then we'll hate him because we love this town. And, so he pulled that off. It was a real balance, and he had real authority as a doctor. I was very impressed with him, and also he was a real pleasure to work with, and he loved it out there,
Right.
which is also something you don't know. You don't know that because it's pretty isolated, and a lot of actors might not have felt that at home there.
Right.
And I didn't know him. I didn't know whether he would go crazy not having a gym in town.
Right.
But it wasn't a problem. So.
Well, and can you talk about the rest of the cast, because you've really got a very cool lineup.
Well, I mean, there's Brendan, who I think is, really one of the best actors out there.
And how did you come to Brendan as well?
Well, his name came up early, and then it was almost impossible to think of anyone else because, and even now I can't think. I was just doing an interview trying to think of an alternate. It's really hard to think of anyone that could believably be a fisherman and has this sort of comic chops, but also has the ability to root it. He's believable, and he's an honest actor, and I needed someone who was going to take it seriously too, because he's sort of the town. He's the heart of the town, and if he's not firm, then the whole thing is going to be pretty flimsy. So I really, really, really wanted him. And then for everyone else, I was trying to get Newfoundlanders. I mean, I would have got Newfoundlanders for Brendan's part if it was an obvious choice.
Right.
But everyone else is, well, pretty much everyone else is from Newfoundland, and I wanted to do that because, first of all, why not? Because they're all actors, and there's great actors, and there's an incredible pool of actors.
Yes.
I could have cast, 5 or 6 more roles with great actors. And this is a bizarre phenomenon. No one understands why in this country, but there's this concentration of these actors and comedians out there that they're bred. They're doing better than the cod stocks now. So I was eager to get them in there with Mary Walsh and Mark Critch and tons of basically everyone else. And I'm really, really, really proud of the cast because it's really a town. It's about a town, and most of the town, of course, we cast from locals out there. And I don't like to call them extras in the film because they are characters. When you see, you'll understand they're characters in the film. Even a lot of the background players, and of course Gordon Pinsett, who is, he's really the heart of the film, and of course a Newfoundlander. And so generous. And again, he does a really different performance that I think people will be surprised by. It's a real comic performance. It's a real character part. So I'm very happy with the cast.
And so you're going to be debuting at TIFF, which is awesome. What's the mood going into TIFF with a new film?
Well, TIFF is so gigantic now. It's so overwhelming in a way that I can't say that it's with complete ease.
Right. It must be different from...
It is.
Yeah.
It's huge. And now I'm at the opening weekend, a gala. It's sort of as big as it could get, so I won't deny there's some pressure there. But at the same time, it's thrilling, and I have my cast and my family and my friends there, and I really feel there's no better place to premiere it. So it's a mixture of dread and delight. Probably like every critic is press person is feeling now.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.